Hello and welcome to the Emerging Tech Horizons podcast. I'm Arun Seraphin, Executive Director of NDIA's Emerging Technologies Institute. Today we're going to discuss the Defense Innovation Unit's, DIU's, new technology matching platform, the DoD Digital OnRamp. This new partnership between DIU, acquisition professionals, and industry seeks to build a simplified system for helping match companies and their technological capabilities with defense missions and customers. We're going to cover what this new platform is, how it's going to be used, and what industry can do to take advantage of it to access the growing defense market. To answer all these questions and more, we are happy and lucky to be joined today by Cheryl Ingstad, the Deputy Director for Digital Platforms and Developer Ecosystem at DIU. Cheryl, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I'm looking forward to this.
So, to get started, Cheryl, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to DIU and working on these kinds of digital platforms.
Oh, yeah, well, actually, circuitous, right, as usual. So I studied really international relations and international economics, and then I became an intelligence officer and served overseas, and then also back here in Washington, D.C. with Defense Intelligence Agency. And then I took a big leap into the private sector and joined 3M and had 15 years of commercial service there. So really working with mostly commercial companies and commercial technologies. And then I moved in the last 5 years to lead one of their largest defense businesses. And so that's why I always say now that I'm back in the government that I have a lot of empathy for all the companies who are working with the DoD and what that's like, what that experience is like. So, and then after leaving 3M, I came to the Department of Energy, and that's where I was their inaugural director for artificial intelligence and technology. And then I came over here to DIU. And here I started as managing director for National Security Innovation Network. And now I'm deputy director, so reporting to the director of DIU, leading all digital platforms and ecosystems. So those are transformational projects that have an impact DoD-wide.
But your background includes both wearing uniform?
Yes, yeah, I was civilian and military, DoD.
And commercial and selling to the government.
Right.
And working in other parts of government.
Right.
All along the line, a lot of AI and ML in your background as well.
Yeah, I was a signal officer, so signal officer and intelligence officer both, yeah.
Yeah, so that's great.
Operations.
So your team at Digital Platforms at DIU, tell us what they work on.
Oh, it's really, really fascinating. So we have, on the ecosystem side, we have a really critical and really model vision for how we can bring software into the DoD at scale. And that would be a real true marketplace. So we're working on developing that vision and with partners inside of the DoD. So that's a project that I won't talk about much today because the other big one is the Digital OnRamp, and that's on the platform side. And that one we're in the process of launching here over the summer. And so therefore that's the one we'll focus on today. Lots of news with that one. So the Digital OnRamp platform is really about how do we help, and this is all in addressing DIU's mission. How do we bring commercial technology into the DoD at scale and with tremendous speed? And I would argue the only way to do that is with a digital platform. So we do have people stationed and we do have offices, in different parts of the United States. But if you try to do this through the human network, it just through, inherent limits of a human, network, their individual networks, that will actually slow, that is a good route, but it actually is much slower than the digital platform at scale. So
at DIU, one way to think about it was it intended to be a front door to DoD,
right,
in places like Silicon Valley,
right,
and later Austin and Boston and wherever else.
Yep.
And so you're the digital version of that.
Yeah,
simplistically.
and so really in places where we can't have an office, resources limited. Or, I always use this example. Imagine you're a quantum company and you walk into our office, maybe in Boston, but the person that you're interacting with, they don't have a strong quantum network. well, you might not be then connected into and navigated into the right opportunities in DoD because that person just doesn't have a great quantum network. But yet, if you come on the Digital OnRamp platform, you can find all the DoD quantum opportunities there. So that's why, you know, if you want to see scale and you want to do it with speed, like you could get onto the Digital OnRamp and 10 minutes later have those connections to what are those opportunities for you and walk off, you know. And we did a lot of research before launching this platform. And one thing we found, and this was, I tell you, like to a T, these were some of the responses of small companies trying to engage with the DoD. It took me 2 years. It took me 3 years to network my way into the DoD to find my first opportunity. And, you know, so we'll talk a little bit later probably about the technology demonstration that we did, but we proved actually you can get on the platform and walk off understanding what your opportunity is right then.
So one of the problems you're trying to solve is how complex the DoD customer base is, the market, who's the right person to talk to, and in all the different roles of people. I went, you know, we always hear about the small business who flew out to Indo-PACOM thinking they were meeting the customer. And you end up describing, well, that's more of a user than an actual customer. Customer works over in the Navy Yard. Do you know where the Navy Yard is? And then it turns out the Navy Yard's got this customer who thinks about that kind of system, but you really want to go to Ballston, where the Office of Naval Research is. And so any kind of tool that can help a small company understand all those different types of customers, what they're interested in, where they're located, I think that would be valuable.
Oh, extremely. So how to understand the opportunity better and how to respond to the opportunity. So we have a training and an education piece that's built into this, and it's curated, best in class education. So it's not just like, let's say you're trying to apply for a SIBR and you go online, you know, SIBR education or SIBR training as a search, you know, who knows what quality of training that you might get. But with ours, it'll be curated. It should be the latest version of the training and really approved by authorities like the Defense Acquisition University and others.
So it's an online platform. So basically, how is it going to work?
Well, it's really terrific because it works for both sides. So we always like to say that the obstacle and what I often describe as the maze that you have to get through, it's not only for the private sector, and so companies, academia who have some great technology that they want to see, is there a DoD demand for this? Is there a contract available? Is there funding available? You know, think about Office of Strategic Capital, right? Funding. But it's also, you know, the same pain. It's a little different, but it is on the DoD official side too. So if you're a DoD official, you have a mission, and your mission-related problem may be, I think there's a commercial solution for this. How do I find that? And on the DoD side, they have an equally difficult time getting through the maze to figure out what are the commercial solutions that could alleviate or solve.
And they have a legal
right?
requirement to do market research
Yeah,
before they get into a big acquisition effort.
Program managers have that legal requirement, right, to do that market research. This also can check that box, you know. So yeah, right now, a lot of the companies on the private sector side or academia, you know, they use a variety of search tools. They often don't know about the data sets, and that's where we're saying, you know, leave that to us. We're the experts at that. We'll connect you to the right data sets because, you know, some companies will know about, like, say, SAM.gov, but they don't know about CIBR.gov. They don't know about challenge.gov, FPDS, you know, et cetera.
These are all government websites.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And you can go on R for the private sector. The private sector will not get information that is not publicly facing. So it's all purely publicly facing data that if they wanted to go to each one of those independently by themselves, they can. Or they can come on our platform, use generative AI latest search tools to search all of those databases, many of which they probably don't even know the name of. And we'll do that, and that's where we say, you know, what's so important to this Digital OnRamp platform are the data sets. So if there are other tools out there, and even within the DoD that do searches, but they're not always connected to the right data sets. So in this case, we'll be connected to the right data for those searches. And then on the other side, if you're a DoD official, you have a mission-related problem, and I'm looking for a commercial or an academic solution. Now we're talking about a higher level security, government-only space. And once they get in there, they can use the AI tools to search DoD data sets, commercial data sets about suppliers, venture. So that's a lot of your new, startup companies, find out what their solutions are. And like I say, we did a technology demonstration and it worked. They really got valuable responses back.
DIU has a reputation of being primarily focused on software. I think that's changing over time. Mm-hmm. Is the platform particularly aligned for software companies, or is it more open than that?
It's really technology agnostic. So when you think about the technology that our warfighters need, it's of course software, but it's many other, hardware and many other technologies. So one thing that, and I'm glad you brought that up, because we are very connected with the other DoD platforms. So you may know about Tradewinds, which is about software. If you're a software company, you can come into Tradewinds, go through their approval process, then be listed, and do a 5-minute video. And now you're more discoverable to DoD to DoD customers. So we're going to be connected to Tradewinds. They're part of our DoD-wide working group. So if you're a software company and you come on to the Digital OnRamp and you type into the large language model, into our generative AI system, I have this kind of a software, it does this kind of, performs this kind of function. Is there a DoD contract for me? We would come back and offer whatever kind of a matching contract there would be, opportunity, if there is one. But we would certainly tell them about Tradewinds and say, you should think about listing your solution on Tradewinds. Here's the link, and here are the benefits to listing on Tradewinds.
If I'm not a small business, and I'm a prime, let's say, or I'm a university, is there value there as well?
Absolutely. So we like to say that innovation comes from all sizes of companies and all stages of companies and all ages of companies. And that includes the primes. So we have had several meetings with primes who are very excited about using the platform. So it's not just for non-traditionals or for small business, it's for all sizes, because we really believe that the innovation is across our country in all of these companies and in our universities. So we want to make it easy, low barrier of entry to come on, tell us what your solution is, and see what kind of a match there is to a DoD opportunity.
And a lot of this information you went into more detail on a webinar that you were nice enough to run for us at ETI, along with our small business division on April 22nd, which we'll drop a link into the chat. Into the description box on that as well. One of the things that didn't come up in that conversation, at least to my memory, was my feeling that, shouldn't this be a private sector function? There are people out there trying to do this kind of thing. Even lobbyists, isn't that their job to help you find context in government? So how do you walk the line of not competing with the private sector, or are you actually leveraging commercial tools to do this?
So one, we are definitely leveraging commercial solutions to deliver this capability. But so just a little bit back in our conversation, I mentioned low barrier to entry. So the commercial tools that are out there do charge a fee usually. So subscription fee, a annual fee, a license fee. And so when you think about what we're trying to do at scale and make it free for everybody, we are really talking about charging more on a token size level, and cannot afford for the sheer volume that we're going after here, hundreds of thousands. We're planning in year 3 to have over 1 million users. So it's not something where we can afford a license fee, but there are other commercial solutions. And so let me say two things about them. One is that we're more operating at this top level of the funnel of opportunity discovery. So it really is about, I'm a DoD official, can I find a commercial solution? And then after that, I'll do the rest to try to qualify them. And it's kind of the same on the other side. It's, I'm a company, I'm a university professor, student. I have a great technology solution for the DoD. Is there an opportunity for me? Oh, I got matched to an opportunity, let me apply and go through the process, as opposed to, I want to do tons of research on my DoD customer. You know, I found my customer, it's PEO Digital, and I want to know, what is their budget? Who have they awarded to in the past? What are their future spending plans and you know, opportunities, and what is my total addressable market here, and so forth. That it's not that deeper level research into your customer. And likewise, it wouldn't be for a DoD official that deeper level research into a company. You know, like if you want a whole company profile and all that, you're looking for a different kind of software solution.
But in theory, it could speed the search time.
Mm-hmm.
It could reduce the false alarm rate.
Absolutely. Right? I mean, this is really about speed and scale. Yep, totally.
So if you're a company,
mm-hmm.
you register to use the platform.
Yes.
Is there some vetting? Can anyone sign up? Are there certain people who you don't want to sign up?
So we're what we're saying right now is that we have a registration process. We have an identity validation process, and we're working through some of the added details that go with that over the summer to get the authority to operate, so to get all the cybersecurity approvals. Our intention is to limit this to U.S. citizens to begin with, but we have on our technology roadmap to expand that to allies and partners in the future. But to begin with, this is the minimum viable product. And so, you know, smaller scale and then grow over time.
So I register for use,
mm-hmm.
and then I upload some information about my company
mm-hmm.
and my products and services.
Yep, and you don't have to upload, but that's an option. So you can just fill out the registration form. So we did this for that technology demonstration, and it took roughly 7 to 10 minutes to fill it out. And then what's great about that is that now we have enough information to build up persona. So when we do the searches, so in the technology demonstration, we interviewed test users afterwards, and they said things like, you know, I felt like it knew me in the way that when I searched, it gave me back the kind of results I'm looking for, you know. And we're even building into the contract for the platform that they offer the ability to create multiple personas. So think about if you're a scientist at a DoD lab, you're normally working at this TRL3 level. And now you're moved over to a project with one of the Warfighter commands, and now you're at TRL7 suddenly. And not only that, it's a somewhat different technology. Well, you could create a different persona that represents that project and have two personas, and this select which persona you want to do your searching on.
So as you're getting into developing the platform, are you discovering best practices for industry in terms of how they describe themselves, so that DoD finds them or understands what they're looking at?
That's a really good question in a few months after we launch, and because we do plan to do a lot of user experience, interviews, and also launching again a lot of the surveys. So we already in our tech demo, we had 100 test users and we had 1,500 surveys. And we also did a lot of analysis of all the connections that they made so which data services returned the most for our users, right? Which AI tools service the best? So we plan to do a lot of that analysis, and I think that'll get more to that questions like how could we advise our users as they fill out the registration forms? How could we help them to do that better?
There's AI in here.
Mm-hmm.
There's AI in your background.
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
companies you're contracting with to help with the platforms are probably selling you this as there's AI tools embedded here. What's an example of how the AI and ML capabilities are supporting this kind of matchmaking function?
Oh, well, so yes, you're right. So the platform has an embedded large language model in it. And how that's operating is it knows the persona-based information, right? And it sends out the query then to the AI tools and to the data services. And then when all that information comes back, it packages it for that individual user, so that if you're a TRL level 3 scientist, you're not getting at the top of your response something that's TRL level 8 or 9. You're getting the things that are more appropriate to you, right? So that's how it's also really LLMs talking to other LLMs and multiple AI tools at work within the platform.
And I would guess over time it could even guide the user to adjust what they're showing to optimize it depending on the user types they're looking for. I suppose the system will grow to that eventually.
Oh yeah, over time, and that's part of why we have substantial user experience requirements built into this contract, is because and we stated this at the beginning of the technology demonstration too. What really matters here is, do the users find it valuable? Are they getting the right response to their questions? And how are we always improving on that user experience? So that's where we have a plan to go, from like initial sort of service to the users to always expanding that over the time that we're in this minimum viable product for the year.
I'm happy to say I have no experience with this next question.
Uh-huh.
Is this the way dating apps work?
Yeah, so I think so, but probably in a little bit different way and with different data sets, right? So I think what's different about this is that, like I said, for the focus, the matching might be the same, but you're not trying to match necessarily to, on a dating platform, two individuals to see how their profiles connect. You're looking at one company or student or professor, and how does their whole technology profile, if you will, connect to these data sets that I have of a variety of different opportunities, and all of those opportunities, instead of each having an identical profile, or they're all in different data lakes and data sets that we have to connect to in a multitude of different ways to search them and then bring that response back.
Yeah, it almost like it's less like the dating app and more like when we were students, we used to take these tests and they tell you, you took the test, it looks like you're going to be a juggler or a gardener or something like that, right? And it's a very sophisticated version of that, right?
A perfect forest ranger.
Exactly. Right. So it's matching you to sort of these affinity almost.
Yeah.
And the organizations that might fund that kind of thing.
Maybe, yeah, like which organizations would, and I guess it's even more granular than that, like not necessarily what organization do you link to best, but what opportunity. Right. And then on the other side, if you're a DoD official, what commercial solutions might satisfy your mission-related problem? Right,
for sectors you've never even thought about.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So on the government side then, the acquisition process is complex, manpower intensive. Yeah. Lots of people, including us, are thinking about the use of AI throughout the acquisition process. In your mind, this particular tool, where is it best suited for use? We talked about market research, for example. Is that the best use, or is there other uses as well?
I think that's really the best use, and that's a mandated thing that they have to go through a market research process. And so I think that's really the best place it fits in the acquisition process. And this will really help if you think about PMs who have to see they have maybe who are their industry partners normally, so they know those solutions well, but they may not know that there are some new entrants in this field, or that there's a commercial technology that's achieves the same purpose, but is somehow really still different and in a uniquely technological way. They have a different approach to it. And and therefore it would never come up on their radar, right? And this is a way to find that.
One of the things that always frustrated me in my past government jobs was when a federal agency tried to establish a new program, what they thought was a new program. And even within DOD, the Army didn't realize that the Navy had been working on this for 4 years. And the Air Force had a laboratory for 25 years.
Yeah.
And the Army guys show up and say, someone's got to do this, we have to do this. So there was no equivalent of what a university professor might call literature search when you stood up your clever new initiative. Do you think this could help with that?
100%. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because we find this all the time at DIU, because we're at the DoD level, and we run challenges and work with a lot of early stage companies trying to solve DoD problems, and then really most of DIU focuses on prototype projects that solve a mission partner's problem that can only be solved through a commercial technology, and they need it on contract fast, right? And we help them get there fast. So when you think about that, what we find all the time is the Marine Corps comes to us with a problem, and we just heard about the same thing from the Air Force 2 months ago. Or we solved that last year on an Army project, So we find that all the time. And that's where particularly I think the digital on-ramp will be very valuable is, think about this. On the DoD side, we're going to connect to numerous DoD databases that really offer insight into how problems have been solved in the past and what companies have delivered what solutions. So just today I was on the phone with Defense Logistics Agency. How can we connect to your databases of companies who have successfully performed in the past and what those solutions were? AFWorks is one of our partners on the working group. So Air Force, they're saying that we can connect to their innovation database. So, okay, problems that that airmen have had, right? That were prioritized, solved through some type of innovative, manner, and then what that solution was. That is just the prime candidate for, again, somebody from one command or one service comes on, I have this problem,
right.
Types it into the Gen
but
A.
it prevents the reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
It prevents duplicative programs.
Right.
Which honestly was the hunting ground for congressional staffers like me. Right. Because we
Right.
could take briefs from everybody.
Exactly.
And say exactly what you said. Those guys just briefed this last week, so I'm only going to let one of them have the money. So you might be able to help with some of those kinds of problems. But to do this, from both the industry and government side, there's a lot of data here. So talk about the security of the system. You talked about ATOs. What's the effort to make sure it's cyber secure?
Yeah, and that is so critical for us, right? That is, and let me also make another point, because earlier you had asked about other, commercial solutions, right? And one thing that I would caution, you're in the DoD is, and you have these type of mission-related queries. There's NIPRNet, GPT, that kind of thing, at least do this kind of search inside what I call inside the fence, so it is already has cybersecurity built around it. But, when we think about the private sector, they can go to, just as DoD folks can, to any commercially available, free, Gen AI service out there, right? And is really typical that on especially non-traditionals, they may not realize how sensitive some of their capabilities are, and to just put that out there where there have been, in some cases, massive leaks, and where that could be gathered by our adversary, again, recommend against that. So that's why we also want to have the digital on-ramp platform where the private sector can come into a secure space and do that. And the same thing for DoD users, that they can come into a DoD secure space that will be impact level 4 just to start with, where we have all of that cybersecurity wrapped around it. Because if they go out to some of those other Gen AI services and our adversaries, they know that we're connected to the DoD. And once they really amass that, you get into that problem of really classification through compilation and through aggregation. And so we want to avoid that, like, okay, do these searches, but do it inside of the digital on-ramp platform with the security.
Will industry be allowed to put up proprietary information?
So we're working through that right now, and then that depends on, you know, the authorizing official for the platform and the whatever he or she states is required. So we don't have an answer yet whether we'll be advising industry don't put your IP into the digital platform, or yes, we can protect that. So we're working through that right now.
And if it's intended to be a front door, you may not need that anyway. You're just trying to get to the follow-on deeper conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are trying to keep this at, like I said, top of the funnel. So, you know, describe your solution and upload what you are comfortable with as a description, and you know, protect your IP. You know, then if I were a company, I would hold back on that until later, right? Until you're really in direct communication with another, like with a program manager. Or
how about the vetting of the information? The company or government labs that says, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that.
They all say that. So this is another reason why. So they all say that, and you don't know what, I mean, then it comes down to vetting. So, and again, I'd like to really emphasize scale here and speed, is that we are not, and we cannot in an automated fashion vet all of these companies who say, I can do, you know, A, B, C, D, E. Well, what we can do is we direct them to an opportunity that it seems to align with what they say their capabilities are, and then they go through the application process. One thing we're not doing, and I want to be very specific about this, we are not connecting, you know, Sally over on the private sector side with Bob on the military side, who's a PM, and saying, Sally, you said you have a solution that works great, and Bob is the PM for such and such a, you know, a product line, and so you two, you know, here's your coordinates, you guys meet, link up, or we're not doing that at all. So what we're saying is, Sally, you said you have such and such a solution. You know, here are some opportunities that align it, you know, match with what you say your solution is. Now you can go apply. Now, I don't mind at scale doing something like that, because each organization that is running a competition, that is their job, is to vet the applicants. So that I think is okay to do at scale, but we don't want to be making introductions and all of that without the vetting.
Yeah, so you're supplementing those pieces of the acquisition process, but you're not shortcutting them.
No.
You're not violating any existing regulation or law through the application of the tool. It's really an assistance to make the system, in theory, move faster.
Yeah, and make that opportunity discovery at scale and make it happen fast, you know. And then we would never pretend to stand in judgment like of a PM or any other acquisition authority for their program, right? So, you know, we would just introduce them to, this is an opportunity, you may apply, you know.
So where are you on the process now? There's rollout announcements in April. You've been doing a tour, including our webinar. We're in the summer now. What's going on now?
We are almost, we're kind of day by day here, but almost have the platform on contract. We just launched, and great to, you know, put this out to all of your viewers and all of your members. We have just launched a solicitation for the AI tools part. So we are looking at numerous AI search tools that are commercial, and you know, they would have to meet our security requirements and responsible AI and so forth. But that's all out there, and it's at the ati.org, and then on the T-Rex. So think of the dinosaur T-Rex 2. Link, and the request for solution or solicitation is out there. It's open till July 8th.
And we'll drop links to all of that into the text box. So tell us where you are in the development process at this point.
Oh, Great, yeah, pretty far along, getting close to launch, but it's been a journey. And so where we started was last summer, we did our first announcement that we plan to do a technology demonstration and then launch the minimum viable product. And within 3.5 months, we had 8 companies on contract. And then it took 1 more month. We gave them 1 month to stand up the technology demonstration. So that was 5 platforms and 3 AI tools. And we told them we want a flexible and modular platform. So that means you'll have to install and remove these tools throughout the day and connect to multiple data services, and also cooperate with and collaborate with the 100 test users that we had. So we did 5 days of testing in December. That was with the 100 test users. We trained the test users and we told them, you can come with 1, maybe 2 queries. So if we want to answer the question, did the test users like it? I will tell you that 100 test users launched 7,000 queries in the 5-day period. They also participated in 3 different sessions each of the 5 days. So that's 15 sessions. They filled out 1,500 surveys. We paid them nothing because we're the government, so nothing. And another thing is their participation never flagged. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On Friday, we had just as many test users as we had on Monday. So you could tell that, they really liked it. Yeah. And then we followed up with, even after, reviewing the 1,500 surveys, we wanted to do focus sessions. So we had virtual meetings with, groups of students, groups of companies, and then groups of the government test users. And what we found was they said things like, this is 1,000% better than what I've been using before. It felt like, it understood me. I had really valuable results. One company said, we've already won 8 contracts, and I have a business development team of 2 people. And on your tech demo, we found an opportunity that we did not even know about, and we're going to apply for it. And then a few months later, we found out they won it. So, it's really great because, you have like real test users with real businesses who are looking for real opportunities. We had a tech demo that we stood up within the course of literally 4 weeks with minimal data sets, minimal everything. And yet, here you have a company that did find and won a contract through it. So very real results. On the government side, we had a lieutenant colonel with ArcWorks, so Air National Guard. And he had been working with a mission partner to try to find an AI solution for months. And he came on the tech demo, thinking, well, this is one more place I'll look and try. He found a company, invited them in, they did a minimum viable product. Then they were selected. And now we found out 2 weeks ago that company is on contract. So 2 companies have won a contract, and both on the DoD side and on the commercial side, in a very limited technology demonstration, they found like real results and drove it all the way to contract. And these were opportunities that they didn't otherwise know about and had been searching for. So this tells you a lot about what the capability is here. And now we're saying like, it's time to scale. So where are we? We're at the MVP stage of standing that up. So we're just about on contract with the company that will award for the platform. And then that's about a 3 to 4 month process to stand up the platform. And that will be in the fall. We'll have to meet all of those stringent cybersecurity requirements and then have an authorizing official approve it. So that'll be in the fall. And we have launched the request for solution or solicitation for the AI tools and welcome the commercial solutions for the AI search capabilities.
And we can drop links into your solicitation for folks who want to get involved in that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now for NDIA members, big, small, non-traditional universities, government personnel who want to get involved at this stage in the process and going forward, they can respond to your solicitation, but what other things would you tell them to how to get involved, how to learn more? What should they be doing?
Or be a test user?
Or be a test user.
Yeah, I think so. Really, we have the one solicitation open for the AI tools, AI search specifically. And then the other opportunity is to be a test user, and that's diu.mil/digital OnRamp, and you can sign up to be a test user. Probably won't hear anything from us for a few months until we get ready to stand it up. Then we'll start engaging with you and letting you know about the launch date and some training and so forth. But that's sign up to be a test user.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a great tool for all of the different communities that we have in NDIA. But I know if I had known tools like this existed when I was doing my job on Capitol Hill, I think I would have used it as well.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As you're vetting people asking you for things.
Yeah.
Or checking out what's going on in the department, I think you're going to find these user bases that you've never even considered. So. Yep. With that, Cheryl, thank you for that great overview of the Digital OnRamp. Good luck with the launch. I hope a lot of NDIA member companies help you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's really been a pleasure.
And with that, I want to thank everyone for joining another episode of Emerging Tech Horizons. Please remember to visit ETI's website to sign up for our mailing list and register for our various webinars, events, and educational offerings, including our Tech 101 series. Visit our YouTube channel at Emerging Tech ETI to see all of our past podcasts, webinars, including Cheryl's webinar, and our other content. We're excited to announce the third NDIA Emerging Technologies for Defense Conference and Exhibition is going to be held August 27th through 29th at the Washington, D.C. Convention Center. I hope you're going to be there. This year, we're going to be joined by the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, Emil, and the Undersecretary for Acquisition and Sustainment, Michael Duffey, as two of our keynote speakers. Additionally, we're working on landing a whole host of other keynote speakers, as well as developing breakout panels, networking sessions, one-on-one government industry speed dating sessions, complement what you're doing in Digital OnRamp, and much more. This year, we're also going to be hosting a multi-day hackathon with partners in the government. Join us and our various partners from OSD, CDAO, the services, and multiple COCOMs like UCOM, AFRICOM, and NORTHCOM for a conference that you do not want to miss. Please click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to learn more and register now. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like our episodes and subscribe to stay up to date with all of our latest content. We are available on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. Special thank you to Melanie Yu, Daniel Park, and Logan the intern for producing this podcast. Thanks so much for joining us on Emerging Tech Horizons.